Good evening, friends, followers and channel members. It's Friday night. Well, it is where I am. For some of you watching, I don't think it is. It's afternoon, evening, and even Saturday morning. I think I saw one of you saying. Yeah, good evening. So I thought a nice 2-hour flight, that's quite lengthy, isn't it? But a nice 2-hour flight live stream to get us into the weekend. What better way to do it? And we're also replicating a real-world flight that departed London Gatwick about 2 hours ago, almost to the minute, I think, or it was scheduled almost to the minute 2 hours ago. So looking forward to doing this. Also flying around Europe on a Friday night, VATSIM's lit up, so we should have some ATC. We've certainly got ATC here at Gatwick, so that's going to be good. So good evening, Paul, Christian, Vera, good to have you on board. Judy, good evening to you as well. Marcus Treadween and Cardinal 22, thank you for hopping on board. Dark Fury is with us too. Simdad the Nomad, thanks. Glad you like the intro. And Pisa is in Italy, in case you were wondering. Good evening to Richard Eversturd and Daddy Revolt. Great to have you on board. Thanks so much for joining us. Glad to have you all here. And Maverick 751, sorry, on Twitch. Good to see you there as well. Terry Zhao, Patham, and Night at Night. Hello. So you'll notice that we are not on live time. I wanted to do this flight and replicate it a little bit more as to what the real flight saw. So I've rolled the clock back a couple of hours for two reasons. One, I thought it'd be nice to replicate it as per the real flight, and two, because we all know that my aircraft, the A320NX experimental, there's no TCAS, and also since sim update number 5 we have no lights on any traffic either, so that's a double whammy of things that I didn't want to incorporate. So we're going to get on board and we're going to start setting up. So yeah, looking forward to spending a Friday evening with you all. So thank you so much for coming and joining me. Hello to Ferran, Ben Thomas, Andy Woolridge as well. And yeah, let's get on board then, shall we? So you'll see the aircraft is in a turnaround state, so that's good. Makes things a little bit quicker as well to set up, and it would be in turnaround state as well by this point of the day. It would be very rare to find the aircraft doing its first flight in the afternoon, although perhaps maybe not quite so rare given the COVID circumstances. That said, many of the aircraft have been in storage, haven't they? So they probably would have. So we have a look. Obviously, the overhead has been turned off and shut down. Last crew leaving the aircraft in a good state. We're going to get ready to start boarding the passengers as well. So let me just tell you what I'm going to do, just to make it a little bit more realistic, is if we can just drop that fuel quantity down a little bit, and hopefully that should also change the aircraft weight as well. Oh, now see, that's interesting. This is where things are not quite right with the experimental version. Look at that. I've just dropped the fuel quantity down and the gross weight has I think it's just gone up. What's going on there? So we may have to ignore that. Hang on a sec. So 61. Yeah, some strange things going on going there. I could empty the tanks completely, but that's not too realistic. What if I emptied the payload? We shouldn't have any payload on to begin with, so let's drop that down there. That's a bit better, isn't it? If we empty the payload down right at the bottom, that's much more realistic. We obviously start with a payload on board, and then we load it from SimBrief, and that adds it to it. That might account for the fact that why we had an extra 4.5 tons on board the other day. Didn't used to have to do that, but this is the experimental version, and of course it is still being worked on. So I do want to get passengers started. It's a 2-hour flight. We don't want to hang around too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the APU on. 1, 2, 3, and we'll let that start, and we obviously can't get the packs on until the APU is started. We've got some bleed air is running. So Whilst I'm waiting for that, I've already sort of done the preliminary cockpit check, so we can see that, that the glare shield is all set up. We've got flight directors 1 and 2, no steering wheel, etc., and all the pedestal set down here is all correct and working. Instrument panel again is all set up, so we're just going to come down now and set up the box. So what I need to do as well for you guys, I always keep forgetting to do this, let me pop the operational flight plan into the chat for you. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're about to get the operational flight plan pinned there for anyone that wants to check that out. So here that comes. There we go. So that's there for you. So sim brief information. 1 hour 49 minutes the flight time today, and let's check, get the information from oh, a little broadcast there from VATSIM. So if I just pull up the operational flight plan here, a payload today of 11440, so not very heavy at all today payload wise. 0 fuel weight of 57702, spot on. 0 fuel weight centre of gravity is 23.4. so we will start boarding. I'm going to start the boarding process on here. Obviously self-loading cargo will kick in a minute once I've got the packs on the overhead, but just to get the weights all sorted, I'm going to start popping that in. Over to the fuel then. In order to load the fuel, I'm going to just bring in the information onto the flypad. Weather today down in Pisa, nothing really too concerning. You can go ahead and look through at the forecast and the current METAR for that, but yeah, there's nothing that really concerns me. So the only thing is the approach there is an RNAV approach, and it's also an offset RNAV approach, so there is a potential, just particular final approach mode doesn't work on this aircraft. There is the potential something could go wrong. We've also got traffic here at Gatwick, so we may have to sit on the taxiway for a little bit. So we always want to board. We always want to have a little bit more fuel on board than the planned block. So we could take, if we took an extra, let's take 7 tons. Yeah. Let's plop for 7 tons, which is around 750 extra, isn't it? So in total 789. It's about 950 kilograms extra when you factor in the contingency. So let's go ahead and get that loaded in. 7 tons of fuel, which is 7,000 kilograms. And refueling's underway as well. The APU now should be available. Yes, it is. So we'll get the APU bleed on. We just need to wait 1 minute or so, then we'll get the packs turned on as well. Good evening, Schulte. Good to see you as well. Vito, you get the alarm when you get over 10,000 feet. Cabin pressure, excess cabin altitude after the update. Have you remembered to turn the packs back on? That's probably the reason for that. We still can see that on the refueling panel. That is underway. You can see the gross weight of the aircraft is now starting to climb. We'll check that obviously before we depart. So that's all done. Let's check. The iris is aligned. We've got 3 nav green. Aircraft status. We've got all the correct information. We've got LEAP engines. Valid Airac cycle. Onto the init B page. We'll do our init request. Get the uplink. So the alternate airport tonight is Lima India Papa Echo. Lima India Papa Echo. Ooh, press that twice. And our call sign is Easyjet for a change. It's been a while since I flew Easyjet. We've had a couple of top Swisses and a couple of Alpines as well. So it's going to be Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Doesn't roll off the tongue. I rate that one about... I'll rate that 5 out of 5. It's not appalling, but it's not the best. Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Cost index of 8, flight level 390, and that temperature is -58. The tropo according to the flight plan, is 42,800 feet, 42800. So just while I'm setting the box up, I apologise for not keeping an eye on the chat. Right, we'll get those packs back on, and then we can get the passengers on board. So packs are on. Self-loading cargo. We'll start the flight. Tell them that we're ready for boarding.
Cabin crew, we're all happy with how things are up here, so open the doors and start letting our passengers on board. Thank you. No problem.
So passengers are starting to come on board. Let's continue setting up the box. So the flight plan, we're expecting a departure at runway 26 left on the Minfo 1 mic departure. Minfo 1 mic. Insert that, and then at the other end we're expecting a RNAV 22 left, and that is via the Berk 5 mic. And that will be over Pisa if we fly the full approach. So let's insert that. A distance of 735 miles. Operational flight plan says 709, but that's close enough. On the RadNav page, there's nothing so much that we need to pop into there regards to that departure. A couple of things we can pop in there just in case all hell broke loose and we lost our flight plan or anything daft like that. But you can see these distances are referenced from the Detling VOR, so I'm going to pop that in. DET, shouldn't need it, but it's there in case we do. And then the zero fuel weight centre of gravity. Right, I'm going to pop this in. I was going to do this manually, but now I seem to have checked this out. Then I think, and how's this fuel going? I think this is actually going to be accurate, but in order to do that I need to wait until refueling is complete, otherwise the zero fuel weight oh no I don't, I'm talking complete rubbish. Zero fuel weight doesn't take into account the fuel, does it? So let's go ahead and set that. Trip wind today is a slight tailwind of 4. Yeah, I was going to wait until refueling is complete before I pop this in, but I think that's okay, and it is actually, the zero fuel weight matches up 57.7 tons. Flight planning is 5.4 tons, and we've already said we're going to take 7 tons. Now, for some reason, the simulator always loads very slightly less, and we've got the APU burning fuel, so instead of 7 tons, let's work with 6.9 tons. That's the takeoff weight of 64.4. That's accurate as well, according to the flight plan, particularly with the extra fuel that we've loaded. And for our alternate, we would require, I'm going to call it 1.1 tons. It says 999 kilograms on the flight plan, which is close to a ton, and I like to just give us a bit of contingency fuel there. So 1.1 ton of fuels, that's an extra 29 minutes of flight time. So that's good. Onto the Init B page then. It's not the Init B page, we've just done the Init B page. Onto the performance page. Transition altitude here in Gatwick is 6,000 feet. And thrust reduction and acceleration is 1,196, so that's close enough. We just need to bring the engine out acceleration up to the same. And flaps 1. Calculate those V-speeds. And just a quick look at that SID gives us a max speed until passing 31 miles from Detling of 220 knots. That is above our clean speed, so we'll be okay to clean the aircraft up. And oh, hang on. I want to fly at green dot. I don't want to fly at 220. Yeah, we want to fly at green dot, which is 215. So let's pop that in, 215. There we go. Okay, so So, whilst those passengers are coming in, let's have a look at the latest airfield information. So we've got Gatwick information whiskey. Runway use 26 left. Cav OK. 18 degrees, dew point 15. QNH is 1015. Acknowledge receipt of information whiskey and advise aircraft type on first contact. That's fine. So we're going to go ahead and contact Gatwick ground so we can get our clearance. In order to do that though, I don't want to hear the passengers, so I'm going to lock the flight deck door just while I'm chatting to ATC. Also whilst we're doing that, we're just going to fade off the lovely cabin music as we give them a call. So let's contact 121.8, which already sounds very busy.
KLM 669 cleared to Amsterdam, train 1 Mike departure, squawk 7666.
We'll wait for that aircraft to read back.
Train 1 departure, 7666, KLM 669.
KLM 6690, read back correct.
Gatwick ground, good evening, Easy 46 Yankee Kilos, Type A320 Neo, stand 552, requesting IFR clearance as filed to Pisa, and we have information whiskey.
846 Yankee Kilo, Gatwick ground, hello, stand by, I'll call you back. Break, speedbird 863, sorry for the delay, cleared to Dublin, November 1 X-ray departure, squawk 6476.
Wondered what on earth had happened there. I think an aircraft spawned into us. Oh no, that's no good. Go away, whoever's just spawned into us, please. I can't see my instruments.
Speedbird 863, Gatwick ground, sorry for the delay, cleared to Dublin, November 1 X-ray departure, squawk 6476.
Well, I can see the overhead. That's not going to get me very far. And a tiny little bit of the EFB.
KLM 863, Gatwick ground.
Oh, come on, I really need this aircraft to move.
Speedbird 863, Gatwick ground.
The problem is, if they don't look outside, they probably wouldn't even realise they've spawned in on someone. Oh, quick look outside will show you the problem. Somebody has taken our spot. They've jumped inside us.
Delta 2565, Gatwick ground, sorry for the delay, cleared to Geneva, Bognor 1 X-ray departure, squawk 6472.
It's the first thing I check when I log onto VATSIM is to make sure I'm not in the way of anybody else.
Delta 2565, read back correct, break, easy 46 Yankee Kilo, actually stand by.
Maybe this is that new
KLM 669, hold position for now, call you shortly, break, easy 46 Yankee Kilo, sorry for the delay, cleared to Pisa, Minfo 1 Mike departure, squawk 7646.
cleared by the Minfo 1 Mike departure, squawk 7646, easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, read that correct?
Ah, I think they may have just gone. And in the nick of time too.
Sorry, we had my issue. Stand 10 and requesting push and start.
So we have got the correct departure in, we've got the squawk in as well. Passengers are still boarding, and it's time now to do our departure brief. So first things first, the weather here at Gatwick is beautiful. Do you know what, while I just do the departure brief, let's just flip that off. Yeah, beautiful evening here at Gatwick, so no problems coming back into this airport if we have a problem. The aircraft is the Type A320 Neo experimental version from FlyByWire, and of course we have the in-op systems, no terrain radar, no TCAS, and no weather radar. Aside from that, it's all good. We also don't have final approach mode, which is important given that we're going to be doing an RF approach at the other end as things stand. No times to be aware of, nothing that affects us directly here at London Gatwick. Threats to be aware of, besides other VATSIM traffic. spawning in on us is actually nothing too serious here at Gatwick. But a couple of things to bring to our attention. We have obviously the speed restrictions on departure, and we also have a first altitude constraint of 5,000 feet at Acorn. Before that though, 31 miles, 4,000 feet at Detling. So we're just going to go ahead and set that up, 4,000 feet, and then we need to monitor that as we climb out. To be fair, do you know what would actually be good? Just check if these are in. We've got 3,000. We've got 3,200 feet, 4,000 feet, and then do we have 5,000 at Acorn and then 6,000 at Mimfo. We can do this, I would hope, in managed climb, and that would be nice to respect those constraints. So I can then set that to 6,000, and it should hold these, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that to make sure that that it does indeed do that. So we just need to be aware of those constraints as we depart. Minimum safe altitude 2,100 feet to the southwest of the field, and that climbs a bit higher than 2,200, 2,300 as we go on our way out. So how are we going to actually proceed? We're at stand 552. And we're going to obviously push back. We'll be facing, I don't know which way it wants to take us. We could be facing east, we could be facing west, but ultimately we're probably going to come, I would imagine, down Papa. Then we'll either take Alpha November or Alpha Sierra, holding point Alpha 1. Depart then on the Minfo 1 mic departure, which we have just spoken about. We've got the speed constraints and restrictions. We'll clean the aircraft up, fly at green dot speed until we pass 29 miles from Detling, keeping an eye on the constraints, of course. Let's just get that turned on. Emergency brief then. So ATC is online, so if we have a problem on the ground during the taxi, we'll stop the aircraft and inform air traffic control, at which point we'll try and work out what the problem is, and if need be, we can run any ECAM drills as necessary. On departure, if we have any problems or warnings before 100 knots, we'll consider stopping, but after 100 knots and up to V1, we'll only stop for uninhibited ECAM warnings, cautions, engine fire failure, and that's with or without thrust loss, or of course we think the aircraft's completely unsafe to fly. If I make the decision to stop, then I will call stop, go max reverse, keep the aircraft nice and straight on the runway, and of course we can use manual braking if auto brake doesn't seem to be stopping the aircraft in time. Once we've come to a stop, we would then stow the reversers, set the parking brakes, and then just take a moment to check the ECAMs, see why we've stopped, and then once we've established the cause of the failure, we can either complete any ECAM tasks, ask ATC if we can vacate the runway, or if we had an engine fire, then of course we'd have to consider running the evacuation checklist. A failure after V1 though, we're committed to flight. If it has been an engine failure that's caused us a problem, we'll continue to depart, fly using standard technique, 12.5 degrees pitch following SRS, and then we'll use the rudder to counteract any yaw. Once we've got a positive rate of climb, we'll get the gear up, and we can get the autopilot on when we're nicely trimmed out. We'll also pull the heading bug so we don't continue out on the SID and make that right hand turn. It's a standard engine out procedure here if we have any problems. Once we've secured the engine and we're past the single engine acceleration height, we'll push the level off, accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule, and then at green dot we'll go open climb and set maximum continuous thrust. Once we are at 17,000 feet, we'll make a left hand turn to the Willow holding point. Holding point entry is 284 degrees, and the hold at Willow is left turns. Once we've completed that and we're in the hold, we'll decide what we're going to do next, either continue, return, or divert to another airfield. So there's our emergency brief done, hopefully of course, as always. Shouldn't have any problems with that. I think all passengers are now safely on board. And we can start to pull the jetways away as well, I think.
Hi Gavin, all the passengers are on board and we're ready to go. I'll bring you a cup of tea after we've taken off.
That's great, thank you.
Looks like we've got the good cabin crew today. We're going to get fed and watered. So refueling is now completed. Let's get the We can get those back on. And seatbelt signs also coming on. With refueling complete, let's just check how much fuel we've got. Yeah, just under 7 tons, and a gross weight of 64.6, which is fine. Good. So now a couple of final checks to do. I've already checked actually, we've got 3 nav green, and then we're going to just check the fuel is balanced correctly. Yep, that's all looking good. So with that then, let's run the before start checklist. So, cockpit preparation is not actually complete because we've still got the external power connected. We don't need that. Let's get rid of that, and let me just check that the GPU is on his way. There he goes. Okay, let's do that again. So, cockpit preparation is complete. Our signs are on and auto. ADIRS, we've got 3 nav green. Fuel quantity is 6980 kilograms and balanced. FMGS is set. Altimeter at 1015. Perfect.
Cabin crew, please van doors and cross check. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. My name is Gavin, and I would like to welcome you on board this Easyjet aircraft. We expect a good flight with you today with no weather problems showing in front of us, so we should be pushing back within the next few minutes or so. For now, the ground crew have now finished loading the last of the baggage into the aircraft, so if you could get yourself seated and secured, then we can make sure we can depart on time. The cabin crew will shortly be providing their safety demonstration video, so it would be appreciated if you could give them your full attention. A special welcome on board to our Easyjetsimpilot members, and if you wish to inquire about becoming a member, please contact a member of the cabin crew. All our Easyjetsimpilot members are of course entitled to free drinks throughout the flight. Thanks very much, and we'll give you an update once we are airborne.
Right, so passengers are all settled in, and I'm going to call the pushback tug, and then we'll ask ATC that if we're clear, and we'll also tell the ground that we're ready for pushing. So before we do that, let's get the rotating beacon light on. Check the acupressure. I'll start the timer in a second, and we'll put the transponder on as well. Before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors are closed and armed. Rotating beacon light is on. Mobile phone is off. Parking brake is on. Let's go back to Gatwick ground, shall we? What's their frequency? 121.8.
Number 225, so lost time 526, bye-bye.
KLM 669, a continue taxi holding point Alpha 3, runway 26 left via Juliet, Papa and Alpha November.
Alpha 3 via Alpha November, Juliet and Papa, KLM 669.
Gatwick ground, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, stand 552, ready for push and start.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, roger, stand 552, push and start approved, face east.
Push and start approved, facing east, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Easy 16 Zulu Delta, stand 51, request push and start.
Easy 16 Zulu Delta, stand 51, push and start approved, face west.
Push start approved, face west, Easy 16 Zulu Delta.
We can just cheat and peer over the glare shield here, make sure he's doing a good job. Lucas, you've already broken into the beer fridge. That sounds like a great way to spend a Friday evening. That on board a flight to Pisa, of course.
As far as 9 flight plan has been filed.
Installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Arrows 59.
J Studio, am I going to the FlightSim Expo? Isn't that in the USA? Sadly, no.
Gatwick Tower now 124.225. Bye bye.
124.225, KLM 669, bye.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Delta 2565, continue taxi holding point Alpha 2, runway 26 left via Juliet, Papa and Alpha Sierra.
Please release parking brake.
Juliet, Papa, Alpha Sierra to Alpha 2 for 26 left, Delta
Parking
2565.
brakes released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
You will start in the sequence.
Okay, so engine mode selector to start and starting engine 1. And it's not a group flight, my friend. We are on VATSIM, so the Virtual Air Traffic Control Network.
Air 59, you can expect your clearance at the hold, report ready for startup.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask
Flight 9,
your
all these
attention
buses
while
up,
we take you through the
contacting.
safety procedures on this aircraft.
Air
A safety card is in your
59,
seat pocket
roger,
showing the
stand
exit
by, I'll call you
routes,
back shortly.
oxygen masks, life jackets,
Roger.
and
Delta
brace position that you must adopt if you
2565,
hear
contact Gatwick
brace,
Tower now
brace.
124.225,
There are
goodbye.
2 emergency exits at the rear,
124.225 for Delta
4 in the middle,
2565, good night.
and 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage.
Aero
Your
Aero
seatbelt is fastened.
59, taxi holding
adjusted,
point Charlie
and
1,
released as
runway
shown.
26 left
It
via
must be
Quebec
fastened when the
Alpha,
seatbelt signs
Quebec,
are on, and we
Juliet
recommend that you
and
keep it
Charlie.
fastened at all times.
Starting engine 2.
Fails,
Air
masks will drop
59,
from
Hold for
above.
Charlie
Your
1,
mask
runway
towards you to
26
start
left
the
via
oxygen.
Quebec Alpha,
Put the
Quebec,
mask over your
Juliet,
nose
Charlie.
Bruno, it's SOPs to start engine number 1 first.
Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take the life jacket from
Lucas, if you were doing single engine taxi, you must always start number 1 first.
around your waist. Click together and pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention.
That's not a bad job from our tug driver.
Flotation aids for children. Your tray table must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with Easyjet.
So we'll wait for engine number 2 to finish.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear it to disconnect. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Thank you, Mr. Tug Driver.
For the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Bruno, this is a conversation we've had quite a lot on this channel before. If you're doing single engine taxi, you want engine 1 first, and you want the yellow pump on. In the older aircraft, it did used to be run off the run off engine 2, but not anymore. Basically, it's in case the PTU fails, which it can do. You don't want to lose the ability to stop your aircraft. Okay, so engine number 2 is now stable. Let's do the after start flows. Engine mode selected to normal. APU bleed is off. Don't need anti-ice. And spoilers, rudder, flaps. And C of G of 23.8. While we're here, we shall do our flight control checks. A little bit jerky today when panning around. That's because the Gatwick scenery is very intense. Full left, full right, neutral. Full up, full down, neutral. Rudder, full right, rudder, full left, neutral. At start checklist, anti-ice is off, ecom status is checked, pitch trim 23.8, rudder trim 0.
Flyby 5643 Gatwick.
Flyby, how nice it is to hear that.
6 Mike departure, squawk 5013.
Oh, Christian, that's so kind of you. Thanks very much. Just because it's Friday and we do a good job. Thanks so much, Christian. Hope we can give a great flight this evening.
Flyby 5643, is that correct?
Gatwick ground, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo is ready for taxi.
846 Yankee Kilo, thank you. Taxi holding point Alpha 3, runway 26 left via Lima Papa and Alpha November.
Holding point Alpha 3 via Lima Papa Alpha November for runway 26, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Okay, so quick check where we're going. Lima down to the right on Papa, then Alpha November.
Opposition Easy16 Delta.
We'll ding that cabin now. We'll go TO config as well. And we'll get those turned on while we're here. Okay, let's add a little bit of thrust and then we shall start to roll. But Christian, yes, once again, thank you very much. I was rather quick in thanking you for that very, very kind donation. Really, really do appreciate that. And yeah, I hope we do give you a great flight and a little bit of entertainment as well for a Friday evening. So thank you so much.
124 with you, Airbus A320 Neo, parked on stand 12, ready for IFR clearance to Manchester, please.
Speedbird 124, Gatwick ground, hello, clear to Manchester, Lambourne.
We just have to pretend we haven't seen those ground vehicles.
477.
Highly annoying.
To Manchester, Lambourne 6 Mike departure, squawking 6477, Speedbird 124.
So we turn right on to Papa just now. Not too fast. Gatwick is a little bit of a maze as we come down here towards the runway. So let's do our PEDS check. So performance is going to be a toga takeoff, no change to the QNH. Engine out procedure is standard, 1700 feet, left turn to Willow. Departure matches what we have on the FMGC. Stop altitude is 6,000 feet with the constraints in place.
124225, see you in a bit.
So before takeoff checklist, flight controls check, departure briefing confirmed, flap setting is config 1, and checked. FMAN takeoff data, 131 blue, 136 magenta, climb nav blue, 1FD2, 4000 blue, and toga. Now, don't want to get lost just here. Transponder is set. ECAM memo, takeoff, no blue.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, contact Gatwick Tower now 124.225, goodbye.
Over to tower now, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, thanks for the service, bye bye. So left now on Alpha November.
Ryanair 595, continue approach number 1.
Continue approach number 1, Ryanair 595, thank you.
Gatwick Tower, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, taxi order point Alpha 1.
Holding point Alpha 1, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Gatwick Tower, good evening, Easy 2891 with you, established locality 267.
Easy 2891, Gatwick Tower, hello, number 2.
So that's the right hand turn just here. No, it's not. The sign saved me there. That's Alpha 3, that's said. Is that Alpha 3? No, this is Alpha 1. That was a bit confusing. That was the holding point, Alpha 3. You wanted to just go to Alpha 1. So that's
Runway 26
just here.
left, clear to land, right
Told you it was confusing at Gatwick, and I always get sort of semi-lost if we're not not careful.
Air 59 holding Charlie 1, ready to copy clearance.
Air 59 Gatwick Tower, hello, stand by. Break, easy 46 Yankee Kilo behind the landing, Ryanair 737. Fire Alpha 1, runway 26 left, line wait behind.
Behind the landing, Ryanair 737, line up and wait behind. Runway 26 left, easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Now, this is where we hope model matching works. Presuming that is the Ryanair. Brake temperatures are good. Let's see if this turns into a Ryanair, shall we? There we go. Pink textures all the way until finally there's the Ryanair. So now he's passed, we'll get the lights on. Strobe lights, runway turn-off lights, and all of those. We'll get the packs off. A TCAS and transponder. Why don't I use the Payway Gatwick scenery? I really don't see the point when this freeway scenery is as good as this is.
Easy 46 Yankee Quebec, hold position.
Hold in position, easy 46 Yankee Quebec. Is he not going to get us out in time? Is there something else coming? Actually, he gives the wrong call sign there. Tower confirmed the hold was for easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Affirm.
Thought
we'd best check.
Ryanair 595, I've no idea what's happened to my aircraft, so I'm just going to disconnect.
Oh, has something happened?
Roger.
Oh, the Ryanair is stuck on the runway.
28901, wind is 210 degrees at 6 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Right, well, here's cleared to land. I'm just going to get those landing lights off because they're rather bright.
46 Yankee Kilo behind the taxi squad. Aeros 59A, ready to copy.
Roger.
Aeros 59 after departure, runway 26 left, enter right hand circuit, nautical altitude 1,500 feet. VFR QNH 1016.
I love seeing that train as well. You can just see that underneath the aircraft that's coming into land.
Off departure, runway 26 left. Right hand circuit, nautical 1,500 feet.
This is why we load extra fuel. All the waiting.
10 Aeros 59.
Danny Fox on Facebook. Yeah, it's not really daytime, but this flight departed
Easy 16 Delta Alpha 3 behind
about 2 hours ago. Sorry, so about 5 o'clock, and we thought we'd replicate that by doing a daytime stream, evening stream. It'll be dark when we land in Pisa.
16 Delta, Roger. Hold at Alpha 3. Break. Aeros 59 behind the landing. Easyjet A320 Charlie 1 line for wait behind.
Behind you landing, Easyjet A320 line up behind, number 2, Aeros 9.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo via Alpha 1, line up runway 26 left, caution intersection departure ahead.
Line up and wait via Alpha 1, runway 26 left, easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Easy 28901 vacate next right and taxi via Golf and Juliet, hold short of Romeo.
Now the only other thing is, it may be getting a tad warm in the cabin as we've had the packs off for a while. But we'll get those on straight after departure.
Runway 26 left, clear for takeoff.
26 left, clear for takeoff, Aeros 9.
Speedbird simulations, yes they are. Another good reason to fly during the daytime on VATSIM. Taking off into the sun, there's another threat.
Aeros 59 expedite.
Self-loading cargo passengers aren't happy about all these delays, but it's realistic.
Takeoff 255 Gatwick Tower, hello. 2 to the bar ahead, I need you minimum approach speed, please.
ZZ, we turn them off so the engines have maximum performance for takeoff.
Easy 28901, contact Gatwick ground 121.8, bye bye. 121.8, easy 28901, bye bye.
So now we are sat playing the waiting game. We've got an aircraft already behind us lined up to land, so hopefully it won't be too long. Shepler, thank you so much for subscribing.
The cargo looks 255, go around. Cargo looks 255, go around.
Oh dear, we won't be going anywhere until the departure path is now clear. We've got a go around going on behind us.
59 turn crosswind, please.
59 turning crosswind.
I'll pop those parking brakes on for a sec, and do you know what? If we're going to be here a while, I'm popping those packs back on. Jason, they can't have forgotten me. I'm at the threshold of their runway.
Good evening, Speedbird 124 with you, taxiing on Mike 2, Mike 1, fully ready for departure.
Speedbird 124, roger, brake. Cargo looks 255, it's the standard mist, and contact Gatwick Director 126.425, bye bye.
I think there's a traffic jam behind us, ladies and gents.
Aeros 59 at the end of the downwind, enter left-hand orbit.
The end of the downwind, enter left-hand orbit, Aeros 9.
Just chat amongst yourselves, guys. We'll be out of here in a bit. Well, no one's landing at Gatwick until we are, that's for sure, so we're in the most inappropriate place. But that's not our fault. Danny Fox on Facebook. You can't donate, I'm afraid, on Facebook. There is a link in the video description for Streamlabs if you wish. But thank you very much for accessing.
167, correction, 16 Zulu Delta taxi on a point Alpha 1, you're number 2. On the way Alpha 1, number 2, easy 16 Zulu Delta.
All the passengers sat here thinking we're on the runway.
Speedbird 124, you're number 3.
Is there a problem with the aircraft? Why are we not going? Alex 5150, say goodbye to the connecting flight. Oh, Danny Fox, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. We're going to have plenty of time to chat as well during the flight once we actually get when we actually get airborne. I'm not actually sure what it is we're waiting for.
Yankee Quebec, wind is 216
Here we go.
At 6 knots, runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 26 left, easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Right, finally, let's go.
Delta behind the departing Easyjet A320.
Start the chrono and set 50%. N1. Engine stable. Set takeoff thrust. Mantoga, SIS runway. V1, rotate. Nav. There's also no turns below 780 feet, but that's okay at this point.
Easy 46 Yankee Quebec, contact London Control on 129.
Just climb.
Bye bye.
Over to London Control, thanks for the service, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
180 knots or less for Easy 164.
London Control, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, passing 2,200 feet on the MIMFO 1 Mike departure.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, London Control, very good evening. Climb now, flight level 290.
290, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Speedbird 916, fly heading 095 degrees. Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, turn right, heading 090 degrees.
090 degrees, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Lufthansa 1303, reduce speed 160 knots until 40.
So we've got thrust climb, open climb, and now heading.
Connector power, tower on 118.5. Good evening. Thank you for your great service.
Thank you very much for flying.
Clean that aircraft up. Thankfully I knew that wouldn't be an issue because of the speed hold that we popped in there, so we were going to be okay. I could have done it sooner, but single engine, single pilot problems. Also 290 blue.
64, continue approach 27 right, you're just about to become number 3, following an A320 on an 8-mile final.
Okay, number 3, I'm following the A320 for Easy 164.
Ding the cabin crew, release them because they were chomping at the bit to get out and start tinkering with things. And we're past now the speed restriction, so let's go manage speed. That was at 29 miles. So we can start accelerating a little bit further, up to 250 knots.
Speedbird 916, turn left heading 090 degrees.
And whilst all that was going on, a huge thank you to Jason. Welcome to the channel, Jason. Thank you so much for becoming a member and for your support. And to Pascal for your very kind apologies. I am listening to air traffic control as well. But to Pascal and to Danny Fox as well, very, very kind donations coming in there. My apologies that I couldn't acknowledge them at the time, as it was a rather busy stage of flight, but I really do appreciate Jason, Pascal and Danny. Thank you so much for your support there. And we're passing 10,000 feet. And clear that RadNav page out. Everything looks nice and clean ahead of us. Happy to release the passengers.
Control, hello, Easy 16 Delta, land board 6, Mike, altitude 4,000 feet.
Easy 16 Delta, London Control, good evening. Climb now, flight level 190, and I'll get you a shortcut shortly.
That's nice to hear from the controller, isn't it? Actively working to give shortcuts.
Galleries 481 London Control, very good evening. Kunav 1 Golf arrival, 26 left, descent flight level 80.
Kunav 1 Golf arrival, 86 left,
So it is very busy tonight at London Gatwick, which is good. It adds to the realism, doesn't it? So we'll just continue to monitor our climb. We've got the VDEV scale showing here. That shouldn't be showing, of course. The reason it is because we've got an RNAV approach keyed in, so it's getting ready for that. But obviously we don't need that. Crazy Spotter, how often do I do the streaming? Quite often, if you're a regular to the channel. Almost daily, in fact. Liam, the cabin crew add-on is called self-loading cargo. Just realised I keep forgetting that this has now been brought into the experimental version. We've got discontinuity there. Not that it matters at the moment because we
916, turn right, heading
are
095.
in heading mode. There's no more.
46 Yankee Kilo, turn right, heading 095 degrees.
095, easy 46 Yankee Kilo.
Easy 16 Zulu Delta, report the heading to London 127.1.
Report heading to London 127.1, Easy 16 Zulu Delta.
Actually, what's up with the ETA? Good question. I'm not sure. I can't actually see the overlay at the top of the screen, so it may be giving duff information, but we should be on the ground in about 1 hour 50, yeah, about 1 hour 50 minutes. Something like that. Chris, you've noticed now you turn the ground control on the overhead panel on. That's to do with the cockpit voice recorder. If you're talking about this one here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Delta Victor.
And that's so when you're on the ground and the GPU is connected, the cockpit voice recorder is running off the ground power. That will come off when the engines are running, because it's obviously then supplied by the engine power. Mike, my wife would say too much. I think she's glad to get rid of me. Vida, is the ETA panicking? What's it doing? Like I say, I actually can't see what it's doing. It might be having a moment. Oh, good lord! Yes, I see what you mean. It's a bit Twilight Zone-esque, isn't it? That. No idea what it's doing. We'll keep an eye on that. Never mind. I don't think I've ever seen it do that before. What a lovely evening's departure out of London, though. Flying Wings Germany, do I have a mod for the cloud? No, these are all default clouds. There aren't any mods that actually affect the textures of the clouds available for Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. There's Rex Weather, which affects the weather that you see, but the actual textures for clouds and things like that in the sky is all default. Michael Jones 420, good evening. Thanks for stopping by.
64 London Control, good evening. Turn right, heading 090 degrees.
Right 090 for EC164.
Aliens, yeah, that's the answer to anything that goes wrong, Skipper. It's all down to aliens. Brian Dyer, good evening, sir. Hope you're very well. New boy, do I have to land crooked at Pisa? Well, there's a good chance that would happen anyway, as it's an offset RNAV approach that we should be doing. So it's not going to look like a nice straight-in approach when we come in. We'll keep an eye on the winds. In fact, to be perfectly honest, in the real world, after I think it's 10 PM local time, we have to use runway 4 right, which is a lot more boring. Katie, Roy, I've just reminded you need to install Rex Global Textures. Yes, well, I do have those installed as well. Christian, what a beautiful night for flying. It is indeed, yes. John, I have a side stick because, well, obviously, flying in an Airbus.
Through 3,500 feet, land on 6 miles departure.
Speedbird 124.
It's starting to get dark, so I'm just popping a
Speedbird
few of the lights on.
190, Speedbird 124.
Speedbird 124, turn left heading 350 degrees.
Left heading 350.
We're going to get some lovely red-looking clouds in a few minutes. GD, boring is safe. Quite right. It is indeed. Ariane, can the 320NX do RNAV approaches? Yes, it can. So stick with us, and I'll show you how that works, because it can indeed do RNAV approaches. Christopher Shaw, welcome to the Captain's Club. Christian, thank you so much. Welcome on board. Really do appreciate the support, so that's very, very kind of you, Christopher. If you're in our Discord server as well, please do make yourself known to us. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this flight and many more in the future. So once again,
46 Yankee Kilo, report the heading to Brest, to Brussels, 131.1.
Report heading to Brussels 131.1 Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Good night, thanks for the service.
Hello.
So thank you very much, Christopher, for your support. So we're off over to Brussels now, 131.1. Brussels Control, good evening, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, passing flight level 260 for 290, heading 095.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, hello, radar contact, climb flight level 390, present heading.
Continue climb now, flight level 390 on present heading, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Flight level 390 set, 390 blue.
FedEx 9420, hello, radar contact.
Bowel DB, welcome to the First Officers Club, Bowel. Thank you so much for your support. Really great to have you on board. Again, if you're on our Discord, please do make yourself known. Great to have a few new members coming in tonight. So really appreciate that, and look forward to seeing all of you on future flights. So thank you so much for that.
Lufthansa 1004, report airspeed.
Airspeed is currently 444.
Callum, so I've just missed a little bit of the chat there whilst talking to ATC, so apologies about that. Sorry, I just did into ATC. I don't know if I just missed a call there. No, that's fine. So we can do an RNAV approach, no problem. We just have to use nav FPA, and that works absolutely fine. So you don't need VNAV to be able to do it, Callum. But you do need VNAV if you want to use final approach mode. But we can't use final approach mode. But that doesn't mean we can't fly our nav approaches. Mike, no, I've not tried NEOFly. I've heard good things about it though. So Aaron, that is absolutely right. We use FPA for the descent, basically. Chris, what does strobe auto do compared to strobe on? You see some students switching it from auto to on, but that seems odd. When it's in the auto position, the lights come on, the strobe lights come on when there is no weight on the landing gear. So basically whenever the aircraft's in the air, which is a bit of a crazy idea to me. I don't know why, because it makes no sense. Why would you ever use that? You want the strobers on when you're on the active runway. So honestly, why it's there, I can't answer that. You need to ask someone cleverer than me. But we never use the auto.
Qatari 45 Lima, climb flight level 320.
Climb flight level 320, 45 Lima.
Lufthansa 55 November.
Thomas, you did the same flight as me from Newcastle Ratio. Well, you may just win given the delay we had on the ground in Gatwick. Danny, you just saw we're going to be descending to flight level 330 around halfway. Well, that's the plan, but if we are under ATC control, then obviously we have to do what they want us to do. Nick T, thank you so much for your support there, Nick. And Nick says thank you on support.
Yankee Kilo, proceed direct to Limco.
Proceed direct Lingo for Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. So Nick, let me just sort that out. Direct to Limgo. Pop that in. Check nav from our present position. There we go. So Nick, thank you so much. That is very kind of you. Greatly appreciate that. And Nick, I know I spoke to you quite a bit. Always happy to help whenever I can. Cody, you're on the ground with me in London. Off to Geneva. Excellent. John, obviously don't feel you have to, but you can send super chats, or there is the option in the video description as well. There's a link just there. So thank you for asking. Bruno, can I explain how to monitor and manage fuel on cruising? Yes, I can. We're going to be doing that. Now, sadly, because we've just been given a direct, we've kind of lost a lot of waypoints up for the next 20 minutes or so. But I will show you how to do that when we get to Limgo. We should have plenty of time in the flight today, given how long the flight is. A couple of hours flight time. Aaron, yeah, so auto, the strobes come on whenever there's no weight on the wheel, so the aircraft's off the ground. Yeah, that's exactly right. Mike, you've just downloaded Neofly today. It looks good. Yeah, I've heard very good things on it.
Descent to 3,000 feet. QNH is 1018.
Andy, that option's there because an engineer thought it needed to be there. I'm sure there's a valued use for it somewhere.
And clear to the MS24. Will report for KNN 174, sir.
And Aaron, it may be because of SOPs. As I say, I honestly don't know what it's there for. Charles, a 3-bar signifying captain. You mean on the epaulets? Yes. Danny, you don't know the reason for the auto strobes, but there has to be some reason. Otherwise, it's a bit weird. Yeah, and Airbus don't normally do things without very good reason. That's one of the reasons I like this aircraft. Everything is there for a reason, isn't it? Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. And I think the sun will now just be starting to dip behind. I think we might just be unable to see that. Oh, there we go. Just having to stick the head out the window to do it, mind, which isn't advisable.
526, contact Langen radar 124.725. Good day. 124.725 for Lufthansa 526. Good day.
Alex, you're doing a nice easy hop from, that's Bristol, isn't it, to Bilbao. Bilbao can be a nasty airport to get into. Rue Martins, yeah, I know the ETA clock has passed through the twilight zone or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. We'll be on the ground about an hour and 40 minutes, something like that. Miss Tago, hi Gap, does the aircraft still manage the departure and climb if you don't use a SID, or do you need to select VS? It depends what you... Can I'll ask you a question. What do you want it to manage? Just the rate of climb. If you're talking about the rate of climb, then yes, it manages the rate of climb, and that's all based upon the cost index that you've set in your McDo. Chris Cavana, oh, thank you so much. That is a very, very generous of you, Chris. Chris says, about time I thanked you. Watch your streams since last November, and you've learnt a lot. Wow, Chris, that is fantastic. So glad that we've been able to help you along on your flight sim journey. And yeah, once again, Chris, I really, really appreciate that. That is very, very kind of you. Danny, yeah, VDev is still showing. That's definitely a bug. Tridwin, if I will, which airliner would I fly when the 220 releases? That is a good question. I can't answer that, Tridwin. I honestly don't know. I don't even know if I'd fly the A320. That's another set of SOPs I'd need to learn. Michael 420. Yes, the ATC is provided by VATSIM. That's correct. So let's just go and check how we're doing here. We've got about 1,500 feet to go, then we'll be at our cruising altitude. Michael Spector, hello. What does clear for the option mean? Is that something you just heard on ATC? In what context, Michael? Brian, so the weight problem, I've managed to fix it. I know what it was. When you load the aircraft's loaded with some payload, some passengers and cargo on it. Then when I go into the McDo and put the payload in from SimBrief, instead of resetting it, it just added to it. So that's why we had a 4.5 tons extra. I'll have to remember to sort that out and do that in future. Tetan, how do you plan the flight route with all the waypoints and sections and everything? SimBrief. SimBrief does it all for you. And if you want to know a little bit more about SimBrief, check out the tutorial on the channel regarding SimBrief. An excellent tool and unbelievably realistic. The operational flight plan, which is pinned in the chat on YouTube at the moment, if you want to download that, it's just a PDF file. You can click on that, and that is pretty much exactly what the real pilots get. It looks exactly what the Easyjet pilots get. So that's I think it's amazing that there's something that does that, and for free, of course. Free. Christopher, you've been a first officer for 3 months. Oh, do you mean on the membership? Sorry, 1 second. Mac Alt Cruise. So let's just swap the TCAS over to below. As long as you signed in on the same YouTube name, then it should recognise that. I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't. So Titan, I mean, you mean how do you plan the route before setting it inside the McDo? So again, I use SimBrief for all of my my flight planning. Christopher, I thought you meant subscription, not conscription, but it did make me chuckle. Grey Dog 7, good evening.
Jet 3 Whiskey Papa, climb flight level 350.
Climb level 350, Jet 3 Whiskey Papa.
Goddess, do I know of any good aero clubs around West London to start a PPL? I'm afraid I don't know any in London, but then I'm from the north. I know very little of London. Chalty, you wasn't where you've been. You went to where you've been promoted. Well, there you go. You don't like interview boards. There's only me. Miss Tago, yes, the rate of climb you've found often without a SID, it levels out for some reason, most likely operator error. Well, you obviously need to set what altitude you want to fly to on the FCU, just here, and it should, I say it should, get you up there.
Control, good evening, Lufthansa 6 Echo Lima with you, flight level 60 for flight level 70.
Lufthansa 6 Echo Lima, hello, radar contact, climb flight level 240, direct Stopok.
Just to let you know that we've reached our cruising altitude for today.
Climb flight level 240, direct Stopok, 6 Echo Lima.
So we should be arriving.
Jet 3 Whiskey Papa, proceed direct to Nizhnu.
Will now start to make their way around.
Direct Nizhnu or to Jet 3 Whiskey Papa?
Clear of any items you may have, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Ryanair 107, hello, radar contact, descent flight level 180, cleared, Bati 5 Alpha arrival, expect 25 left.
We shall have an update for you shortly.
180, Bati 5 arrival.
Present, good evening, 2Jet584.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we could be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Pascal, since the A320 is fly-by-wire, why are all the emergency checklists not automated? Which emergency checklists are you referring to, Pascal? Because there's a few of them. It all depends what the problem is, and to try and come up with an automated checklist for each and every one, an almost infinite possibility of things that may have gone wrong, wouldn't really be practical. You need the human intervention to have a look at it and say, this is what we need to do. Land O'Lakes should go back and check now, but did the fuel prediction page work out? No, I think the fuel prediction page is still broken. So 12 minutes we'll do a fuel check, but we are at the top of the climb, so we're just going to cycle through the SD pages. We've used 2 tons of fuel. That is spot on, because we left with just under 7 tons, so that's fine. Slightly less fuel on the left tanks than the right, that's the APU's fault, which of course isn't turned on. 24 degrees, should we turn those down a little bit? It's a bit warm, isn't it? And the GPU from my PC is warming me up. I'm not going to need the heating in winter this year. Doors are closed, brake temperatures are fine, flight controls are all working, flight computers working, and system status is normal. And Christopher Atkinson, well, welcome back to the First Officers Club, Christopher. Hopefully that's got you sorted again. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, Christopher. It's great to have you. Great to have you back. That's very kind of you, and I really do appreciate that.
Jet 584, descent flight level 160.
So I'm just having a look to see what air traffic control we've got online for us as we go through the flight. As you can tell, we've always got aircraft traffic control. You can hear that at the moment, as we should always do as well, ever to be prepared for if anything goes wrong and we need to divert. We'll have a look at some en route weathers now. Obviously we want Pisa at the top, but then let's check out a couple of other airports. So the bigger airports we normally choose. So we've got Charles de Gaulle on there. We can also have a look at Luxembourg. And we'll also pop in Basel, which is a big Easyjet base. So if you have got a problem and it's obviously not a major dire emergency, it's nice to divert to one of your own bases. It's Brian. So yeah, I cleared the payload in the main aircraft selection screen before spawning into flight. No, I did it after. So I actually did it in the flight deck and did it up here, and that sorted that out. Andy, you are quite correct. The devs who make the tools like SimBrief and FlyByWire, the FlyByWire team, they're all heroes. Absolutely. Just ask, thank you so much for subscribing. Tetan, you're redirecting to the SimBrief tutorial. I hope you really enjoy that, Tetan, and any questions, come back to us.
For traffic, turn right, heading 180.
FlySpotter TV, is Origami's Gatwick worth it over, I have no idea what that is, McAfee? Is that the free one? I'm quite happy with the free Gatwick. The free Gatwick looks absolutely stunning. So I'm happy to use that. Bruno, this is a great question. What's the difference between uniform, X-ray, Yankee Zulu, etc. procedures? Who chooses them? Pilot or ATC? Air traffic control, normally. Now 90% of the time, if you've got an ILS, Zulu, X-ray, Yankee, etc., 90% of the time, Zulu is the one you would always choose, and all the others are reserved for when certain nav aids may not be working. So if the missed approach on the ILS Zulu approach, if the missed approach says when going missed, go around, fly and enter a hold at a certain VOR. Well, if that VOR isn't working because it's down for maintenance, then they move on to the next approach, so the ILS Yankee, which will then have a different missed approach procedure. So 90% of the time the Zulu's there, but there are certain occasions when the ILS approaches are... sorry, I'm just listening to air traffic control as well. But there are certain occasions where you have to use Yankee, X-ray, uniform, etc. because they have different initial approach fixes depending on which direction you're coming from. There's an airport in Europe that I flew to recently that did that, and I forget its name. I don't know if it was Hamburg. It could have been Hamburg.
Easyjet 584, descent flight level 6.
Grade Oak 7, yeah, the ETA is bugged out. Ignore that. We'll be on the ground in 1 hour 30 minutes.
Descent flight level 6 here, 2B11 at Flora, 2Jet 584.
Speedbird 916.
Von McLean, it's off the chain. Pascal, you mean the checklist specified actions the pilot has to do in a precise order? This can be done automatically for the plane by the plane's computer, reducing human error factor. But again, you run different checklists for different situations. So, and in doing certain different things, it may trigger other different things. And you need the human to be able to interpret the information on the ECAMs so they know what is working, what isn't working. Chalty, you're watching on your phone and TV, which is around 20 seconds behind. Von, did I have any issues with the weight and balance? Not like the flight we did yesterday, because I found the workaround, and that is to empty the aircraft's payload before you start. So that's good. Let's have a look then at
Easyjet 584, speed 270.
the weather. Pisa 080 at 4 knots. Ah, chances are, if it stays like that, we'll not be doing the nav approach. Paris Saint-Germain is wide open, ceiling visibility okay. Luxembourg, light winds, visibility fine. And so is Basel. Beautiful weather over Europe this evening.
You too, bye-bye. Ryanair 107, continue descent to flight level, descent to 4,000 feet. QNH is 1017.
Vincent, in Chile, the standard ILS for runway 17 is Tango. Yeah, I've seen that in South America. They do have different identifiers, but it doesn't matter as long as you know which one that you need to be using, and the charts can help with that. Chris, is this the best hobby you've ever had? Because it might be mine. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I got a couple of others.
Lufthansa 6 Echo Lima, contact Rhine radar on 134.07.
Pascal, so pilots are not useless after all. Absolutely not. And I don't think I'd ever feel comfortable getting on a plane with just one of them. GD, you'll be right back. You're filling the beer glass and bowl of peanuts. That sounds like a great way to spend a Friday night.
Jet 3 Whiskey Papa, descent flight level 250 to be level at Nivnu.
250 at level at Nivnu.
So we're going to do a fuel check then at Limgo. Someone was asking about that a little bit earlier. We'll do that in about 4 minutes. But this is essentially what I want to see. So let's go over to the operational flight plan and talk through this.
Speed 250 knots.
So the planned block fuel for the flight was, let's call it 6.2. 6.2 tons of fuel. And I said, well, we'll load 800 kilograms extra. So basically, we'll load 7 tons of fuel. So that is about 750 kilograms extra. And we always have a contingency fuel, which here is, let's call that 200 kilograms.
Yankee Kilo, direct to Grotonquin, Golf Tango, Quebec.
Direct to Golf Tango, Quebec for Easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Sorry, slight interruption there.
584, descent 4,000 feet, heading 300.
There we go. So yes,
QNH 1017.
we loaded 7 tons in total, and we've got 200 tons extra. So if essentially we loaded 750 kilograms more than we needed, and we've got as well another 200 kilograms more than we needed contingency. So the extra we loaded plus the contingency is 950 kilograms. So what I want to see at well, now it's going to be Golf Tango Quebec. Let's just find that. Where are you? Oh, there we go. So at Golf Tango Quebec, I want to see 900 or around.
46 Yankee Kilo, contact Paris Control 128.1.
Over to Paris 128.1, easy 46 Yankee Kilo. Thanks for the service. Good night. We keep getting interrupted with this, don't we?
584 left heading 290.
Heading 290 short 2Jet 584.
Do you know what? Let's just do it the old-fashioned way. 128.1. Paris Centre, easy 46 Yankee Kilo, flight level 390, direct Golf Tango Quebec.
Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, roger, maintain level 390.
Maintain 390, easy 46 Yankee Quebec. Correction, 46 Yankee Kilo. I've got that stuck in my head now from when the controller miscalled us, 46 Yankee Kilo. Right, should we start again? I kept getting interrupted with ATC. So essentially, we have got in total 950 kilograms extra fuel on board because we loaded 7 tons in total, but then you've also got to take the contingency into account. So we loaded 750 tons extra, but this includes an extra 5%, which is 200 tons. 750 plus 200 is 950 kilograms. So when we get to Golf Tango Quebec, which is just here, I want to see around 950 tons, 950 kilograms extra, which, call it a ton. So what I want to see is around 4,400, call it 4,400 kilograms of fuel. And in 6 minutes time, that looks to be pretty accurate. But we can double check that in 5 minutes. So that's how we do a fuel check. And we do that every hour or so, just to make sure we haven't got a fuel leak or anything like that. When do we enable the wing lights? Usually at night. So to be honest, I could turn them on now if I wished. And there they are. They're used for checking for ice. So this time of year, perhaps not quite as necessary. Michael, you have a quick question. In Europe, when are you meant to have the wing light on? Oh, same question. How does it vary from airline to airline? I'm sure different airlines have different SOPs, but realistically, the SOPs I follow here mean that we'd only put them on at night and checking for ice, so they'd be used a lot more in the winter. Vidar, thank you so much for your donation and your continued support, Vidar, to the channel. Just because it's worth it, have a nice weekend. That is incredibly kind of you, Vidar, and same to you as well. Please do have a great weekend, and I really, really do appreciate your support. Very, very, very kind of you, Vidar, and as always, great to have you on board. Mike, did I say 200 tons? Correction, yeah, my 200 kilograms. Thank you for spotting that. Pascal, do I prefer day or night flights? I'll be honest with you, in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I prefer day flights purely because the scenery is stunning, isn't it? I don't think anyone can say anything different. Night flights in real life, though, are quite pretty. More so for the pilots and the passengers, I guess. They've got a better vantage point, haven't they? And they can see satellites coming over, they can see shooting stars, aliens, all sorts of different things. FlySpotter TV, have I found the fix to the VATSIM glitch where the 737s and other aircraft don't show? No, I've heard of this happening. But no, sadly, I haven't. Not sure if I've encountered it either, to be honest with you. Oh, this isn't good. Don't worry, the simulator's fine. I don't know if you just heard my phone beeping away there, which is quite impressive to get a phone signal at 39,000 feet. That was my wife sending me a message saying we've got a problem, and I've got a photo of all the triplet girls in our bed, so that's going to be painful when I kick them out later on. Chris, we need no floaties similar. Yeah. we need a catchphrase for that. How about no CTDs? Sounds a bit nasty, that, doesn't it? And the beautiful night lights of the city below. If we have a quick look at the flight route we've got today, you'll see where we are. And if we just bring up the Golf Tango Quebec VOR, that's where we are. So we just over France at the moment, and then when we get to the border at Begar, then we're starting to border. Is it Switzerland? Now, another thing to notice at this point, you can see the grid moorers, minimum off-route altitudes, going red. So there's going to be quite a while where we need to be aware of the fact that if something goes wrong pressurization wise, we need an escape plan. And we can use our operational flight plan to work out how long that is going to last. Flight Sim 123, photogrammetry cities look bad for me, but it's probably just your internet, although you do have more than 20 megabytes a second. I can't. What was the recommended spec when the simulator came out? I honestly can't remember what that was. The recommended spec when the simulator came out for that.
Good evening, flight level 290.
We've got about 50 here, but obviously I'm streaming as well, so need to take that into account. Flight Spotter TV, can you turn up the object terrain level of detail to improve the photogrammetry? Do you know what? I don't know with photogrammetry. It might just be homicide for your PC. Might be right. Mike, talking of lights, are the northern lights in the sim? No, not yet, but I think that is planned. Christopher, a question you cannot get an answer to. What distance from the airport do you activate the approach phase? The real answer to that is when you want to start slowing down. Sorry, I'm just listening to ATC. Yeah, when you want to start slowing down. I tend to do it around the 10,000 feet mark, activate the approach phase. But I'm normally in selected speed of 250 knots by that point, and then when I know I want to slow down, it's already done. I can hit manage speed, and down it'll go. Bruno, thank you so much for your donation, Bruno. Thank you very much for the clarifications. I know it's not a lot on your currency, but Bruno, honestly, I appreciate that so much, Bruno. And I hope you're having a great flight with us this evening. Hope to see you again on future streams as well. And of course, any more questions you got, please do ask. That's initially why the channel was set up, to help people that want to learn more about flying the A320 and flying it realistically in the simulator. As you've seen on the stream, we can make the simulator as realistic as possible, and of course you can go the opposite way and can just do it for complete fun, which I do sometimes, not usually on live streams, but I do sometimes just jump in and go for a bit of a play. But thank you, Bruno. That's very, very kind, and I do appreciate that.
You're range 2757, traffic no factor, climb flight level 20.
Kian, so you've answered that question with once the ILS diamond is right in the centre. So Kian, we need to make sure we don't get confused between two things. So there's the approach phase, which is activated down here on the McDo, and then there is the approach mode, which is up here on the autopilot, the FCU. So approach phase is all about getting the red aircraft configured for landing. The approach mode is telling the aircraft to capture the ILS. You also don't want to wait until the pink diamonds are right in the centre and you're on the ILS. By then it's too late. You want to hit it before intercepting. Ben Thorne, the ETA has been bugged out by aliens tonight, so yeah. Not sure what's going on with that. Mike, I have rolling cache on as well, and particularly because obviously I'm streaming as well, so I need to kind of offset the bandwidth a little bit. Oh, my big apologies. I'm afraid I can't pronounce your name, but you say that you are enjoying the trip and you love the videos from Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your kind words there. Alex, how do you get the trimmable horizontal stabilizer value? That is shown on the fuel prediction page, and it's just there. It's your CFG 24. So if I was setting this for takeoff now, oh, you can't see it because it's all the way down here, but you can see the markings here. 17, 20. The next one's 25. So you want to set those where these little arrows are. Now, at the moment, these are actually incorrect. They're not right. FlyByWire are working on that. But to be honest, with the rotate logic, as long as your trim value is anywhere in the green band, this little arrow is set anywhere in the green band, you should be fine and safe. Christian, will we fly the I-95 this Sunday evening? Yes, the plan is to do so. We're in New York, aren't we? Leave New York. Down the I-95. Andy, yeah, you totally forgot to press the approach mode on the way to Minneapolis last night. So you know the pain of the diamond going too far. It's very easy to forget, isn't it? If we're not careful. Right, so we can do another fuel check if we wished at Bega. What are we, 48 minutes into flight? We'll be on the ground in 1 hour. We'll start looking at some approach information soon. So Bega, I want to see around 4.2 tons of fuel, because we know overall we've got 1,000 tons, 1,000 kilograms, 1 ton of fuel extra. So I want to see 4,211. Not exact, of course, but around 4.2 tons. Oh, look at that. There we go. Typhoon QA, good evening, hope you're well. Flight Sim 123, what is the glass cockpit refresh rate? So that is a setting in the settings for the simulator, of course, and that's just how often the screens are updated and how quickly they refresh. Set to high, ultra, etc., then it can have an impact on frame rates. I set mine to medium because, as you can see, they're not exactly moving very fast, which is what you want in a nice stable flight. Pascal, now for a very serious question. Where is the chemtrail release switch located in the A320? I can't tell you that, I'm afraid. Top secret. Typhoon QA, have I done a Cat 3B in flight sim? Yeah, if you mean an auto land, yes I have. Thomas, will I be flying the FlyByWire A330? Do you mean the A380? FlyByWire aren't making a 330, or not as far as I know. And am I also planning to do, get the PMDG 737 and 777? As much as I would love to, the thought of having to learn a Boeing fills me with dread. Flight Sim 123, it could help the graphics, yes. Yeah. Trinity, you remember you tried to do a stunt with the 172 on the I-95? Yeah, stunts and a Cessna 172 don't go together too well, as you found out. Michael Jones, you're not sure why your 320 doesn't have an iPad? Is this version right? Michael Jones, you're not flying the FlyByWire mod, you're flying the stock default Airbus A320 that came with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Get yourself the FlyByWire mod. Just Google A320 FlyByWire. It'll take you to their website and you can download it. And do you know what? How realistic does that look? Look at all the reflections on that glass. I love those. Just looks stunning. Christopher, will approach mode be automatically done in nav mode? No. No. So, approach mode or approach phase. We need to be very careful here, don't we? So, approach phase, normally when you pass the decel point, which is marked by a D in magenta on your navigation path, when you pass that, the approach phase is automatically activated. At the moment, that's not happening in this experimental version of the mod, so you have to do it manually. But doing it manually is not a bad thing anyway, because it's done and prepared.
2 stations calling, your wing 27 Kilo November, climb level 300.
Thomas, yeah, the A380. Michael Jones, so yeah, get the fly-by-wire mod and let us know how you get on with that. So much better than the default aircraft. Andy, random question, because it happened to you in Minneapolis, but what do you do when the sim decides the gate numbers don't match Navigraph maps? If you're on VATSIM, go with the chart. Mitch, good night. Talia Johnson, good day. Marco, 799066. Thank you very much for subscribing. Mike, my tons kilogram image reminds you of the Gimme glider. Yeah, that was, of course, tons and kilograms. It probably wouldn't have happened. That was kilograms and pounds, wasn't it? I'd never called them pounds.
Thank you.
Mitch, how can you tell how many miles you are from a checkpoint, or a waypoint, you mean? Well, you can use the range ring, so I know I'm about 60 miles away from Rippers. And because Bega is the next one that we're headed to, you've also got a countdown just there. Typhoon QA, what's wrong with the ETA? It's been bugged by aliens, I'm afraid. Over to Unicom now. Thanks very much for the service. Easy46 Yankee Kilo. Good night. So for the first time this flight, we are on our own on VATSIM, which, do you know, we've been flying for nearly an hour. We've obviously been on the ground a lot longer than that. So the stream has been going for 1 hour 40 minutes and, yeah, so nearly 2 hours of full VATSIM interaction. That has been fantastic. Really, really good. Enjoyed that. Now, Roma Radar is online. I'm wondering if they're going to be controlling us when we get down to get into Italy. So that's going to be quite nice. If they're still there. Alex, you went to Lima Tango Mike Fox. Where is that? I don't recognise that. And the airport was missing. That reminds me of a flight I did a long time ago. Not in this simulator, in FSX. I think I did something like Heathrow to Doha, and the new Doha airport was missing. That was also embarrassing, because I think I was on VATSIM at the time. So, Talia, good evening. I've solved the weight problem that we had yesterday. You need to kick all the passengers off the aircraft on the weights and balance screen when you get in here to get to the dry operational weight. Andy, you think it's whiskey o'clock? Be right back. Can I have one? Thomas, VATSIM changed this a while ago, so now you are allowed to use voice, and to be honest, I prefer that we use voice, because trying to type in whilst doing crazy stuff is just ridiculous. Mike, do I have 1215 on Con 2? Check this out. Of course I do. So the fuel prediction page is still bugged, however. We know our fuel's absolutely fine because we're monitoring it, but the fuel prediction page is bugged. Destination, estimated fuel on board below minimums. It's not. Well, it is, but in reality, it's not. So we'll be on the ground in about 1 hour, hopefully. Talia, you're looking forward to starting controlling on VATSIM. I'll tell you, you have to let us know where you're going to be. We'll come fly in. So Barry, hi mate, Barry Golding. So that message, that orange one, the amber one on the McDo, it was just rubbish. Telling us that it thinks we're going to run out of fuel, but we're not. It's just a bug in the fly-by-wire system at the moment. Beakers Aviation, you're tracking us on VATSPY. That's good. We're now flying blind with no TCAS and with no ATC. So if we're going to crash into something, would you let us know? Because we also don't see the lights as well since sim update number 5. Talia Doha approach aliens have abducted the airport. We need to divert. Yeah, something like that. Michael, has anyone else ever fell asleep one night flying? Thank God for autopilot. Yeah, that happens in the real world too. Christopher, when putting a VOR in the rad nav, you keep saying out of range. It keeps saying out of range. I've never seen that. But you can put anything you want in the rad nav page. If it's not in range, you'll just not be able to pick it up. I can turn that off actually for now. Mike, thank you for doing that. Requid02, good evening. Nice to see you again. Land O'Lakes Doha, it's Qatar. I was hoping we were going to control in Canada. Don't know if we've ever flown. We have flown to Canada. We've flown to Canada a few times. Christopher, hot girls on the Easyjet flight. It's the party plane. All heading to Pisa. Yeah, it's not exactly the party capital of Europe, is it? Maybe it's just the cabin crew. Ollie, is the latest Airac database from Navigraph the same as the ones used in real life? Yes. Yes, it is. Bum Bum 4 LP, you had your first VATSIM flight today. Lots of fun, but you made a bunch of mistakes, especially while taxiing. Do you know what? I think taxiing is probably the most difficult thing to start doing on VATSIM. Flying's easy. If you know how to fly your plane, flying's easy. But taxiing on the ground and getting to the right place, that's more difficult. Treadwin, how do you make the tips show up, the V-Pilot chat tips? So I think it is a setting, it's called Show Software Tool Tips that you need to turn on, and I forget whereabouts that is and the config settings of the simulator, but it is there. Bruno, how do you create a ring around a waypoint? You was wondering if this could be a good idea to mitigate the lack of the D sort. You don't need to, Bruno. Just activate the approach manually as you're passing through 10,000 feet. It's done then, isn't it? You don't have to start slowing down, of course, at that point. You can be in selected speed. But as long as it's done, you know that... because I have done this before. You forget to activate the approach phase. And... you are controlling your speed all the way down, so you get to like 160 knots in selected speed. So you've got 160 knots on here, your flaps full, gears down, and then you want to slow down to your final approach speed, your VAP speed, and you push the speed bug to enter manage speed, so it starts to manage that and drops it down. And because you haven't activated the approach phase, manage speed is 250 knots. Because that's what it targets below 10,000 feet outside of the approach phase. So suddenly you're on your way down, you hit manage speed, and your engines spool up, and you have to bin the approach off because you don't realise and you've not rescued it. GD, thank you so much for your 684 donation there. Really do appreciate that. Very, very kind of you, GD. Hope you've had a great flight with us so far, and thank you for supporting the channel. Great to have you on board with us again this evening. Rayquin02, thank you for that. Notification showed software tips and VPilot options, of course, need to be set to show in sim in VPilot. Bernie, good morning, you've just woke up. How's the flight been? It's been very good so far, Bernie. Very busy in the Gatwick. Good morning, though. Bernie, where are you? Friend, does the speed automatically switch to Mach? Yes, it does. Yeah. Andy, landing is your Achilles. Ah, yes. Practice, practice. You'll get there. Promise. Right, I want to get the latest wins because I'm not convinced we're going to be making this RNAV approach anymore. So, yeah, we're not doing we're not doing 2-2. So, let's get those charts up. So the plan now is we're going to be coming in from Airac. Well, if we plan to fly the full procedure, what we would do is Airac, overfly the airfield and come back out to the initial approach fix of Jessie, and then from Jessie we'd basically just spin it around and come back in to land on the ILS. But what tends to happen is we get radar vectors in the real world, and you can check this out for yourself if you go on Flight Radar 24. And as I say, this was a live flight not so long ago. And if you find this flight, you obviously can check out the use the call sign at the top, because I'm using the same call sign as the real flight today, and you can check out how it came in. They basically got a shortcut rather than having to come in, overfly the airport, come out and then come back in and land. ATC from Airac kind of brings them out over the Med and then in and around to come and land. So I think then that if we've not got air traffic control, that is exactly what we are going to do. Where's my charts gone? Come back. I must be having an internet issue. Sometimes Navigraph does this and it's a bit of a pain. We'll leave that to sort itself out. So what I want to have a look at is now the altitude of the terrain beneath us. So we are at Sonsun, 1 hour into the flight. Let's check how we're doing. 1 hour 10 minutes at Sonsun and 1 hour 3 minutes. So yeah, we're going to be there about 5 minutes early, 5 minutes ahead of schedule. That's good. Bernie, you're in Australia. That would explain why it's morning. So at Sonsun then, let's check. This is the point where the minimum through altitude starts to become an issue. As you can see, it's above 10,000 feet. It's 12,900, 12,000, 11,900 feet. So we would need a get out if we had a pressurization issue. And to do that, let's have a look on the charts and see the quickest way out of here. So this is really a nasty area to be in because everywhere looks to be well, not great. Well, best way out. The best way out, I think, looking at this, would always be to continue following the track that we've got. To be honest with you, yeah, because we've got 8,500 feet just there. So yeah, we would have to continue the track, getting down and getting down as low as we can. Now in the daylight, when you can actually see what's happening beneath you, you will see little valleys and things and sort of escape routes that you can have. At night time, it's a little more of a problem. JD89, thank you so much for your $3.99 donation. Really do appreciate that. That's very kind of you, and hope you're having a good day today. JF89, thank you once again for supporting the channel. Cargo looks 1 Whiskey Delta requesting a parachute. Good luck. Wayne, good evening, sir. Hope you are well. And JF89, thank you for the cup of tea. I could do with that. So as we are going down, I just want to look at some of these altitudes. So at Airac, which is where I've just said we're going to be coming in from. So at Airac, we're going to come out here, and then you can see the minimum off-route altitudes and minimum safe altitudes is still 9,000 feet by this point. So, in order to keep safe, if air traffic control is not online, our plan is to be at around, let's just do some track mileage as well. We're going to get the Pisa VOR into the RadNav page. Let's go ahead and do that now. We're miles away from top of descent, but we can plan. So there we go. And we can turn that on so we'll be able to see that as and when. So that's going to help us. And if we want to know how far we are away from Pisa, I could put that in the bearing distance 2 page. But I can also have a look just here, because if we get Airac in, we've got 15, 21, 30 miles. So Airac is 30 miles out from the airport. So if we did 10,000 feet at Airac, which is above minimum safe altitude, and we can just double check that on the operational flight plan. Yeah, so we're going to aim for 10,000 feet at Airac. So we're going to form the plan, then we'll talk through how we're going to do this. So we're 154 miles away currently. So our plan will be, we're going to be 10,000 feet at Airac, at which point we're going to vector ourselves to something sensible over the Med, maybe a heading of, say, a heading of something like 22230, and we can use that radial there, because once we are past the 129 radial from Pisa, we know we're nice and safe. We're over the sea, it's 2,700 feet, and we're basically from Airac going to look to descend sensibly out over the sea down to the platform altitude of 3,000 feet. I need to change the approach in a minute in the McDo, but we're then going to come in and around to pick up the waypoint Jessie, which is the initial approach fix, and from there we'll intercept. We'll vector ourselves in for a nice intercept onto the ILS. So let's go to our flight plan, and we're going to change this now. So it's going to be the ILS 04 right Zulu. If we do the full star, it is the, I think it's the Airac 1 Romeo. It's not the 5 Lima, I don't think. Oh, actually, it could be the 5. We could use the 5 Lima. Is that the 5 Lima or the 5 Mike? Let me just double check. The 5 Lima takes us to Jessie, but we're not going to fly that. We're going to come all the way around rather than overfly the airport and then make the teardrop approach back in. So let's just pop that in. The 5 Lima. There's Jessie. Insert. Let's just see how that flight plan looks now. So apologies if whilst I've been chatting through this I have missed any questions. Some strange stuff going on there. What's that all about? Not quite sure what that line is taking us to, because all of the waypoints seem to be coded in quite nicely just there, to be honest with you. However, that does sometimes happen with this experimental version. It's normally sorts itself out as we come in. Okay, so I'm happy with that plan. We're going to be in heading mode anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. Digital flight deck. Good evening, everybody. So I will just now do an approach brief of how I want to make the approach, and then any questions that anybody had, please do ask them again in a moment, because I have had my eyes off the chat. So at Airac we're going to be 10,000 feet. We're then going to come out over the Med, start descending. We're going to come round, and I'm going to do this all in heading mode, vector myself in, unless ATC is online of course. And then at Jessie we want to be 3,000 feet at Jessie to come in and intercept the ILS. Runway visual range, I'm sure will be above 550 meters, but we've not checked that just yet. Latest METAR said it was. Side decision altitude will be 230. Happy to make the approach. And as we come out over the sea, we obviously need to start slowing down. I want flaps 1 whilst we're out over the sea, and then flaps 2 as we get to Jessie. We'll keep an eye on the glide slope for when we're pulling flaps 2, and no faster than 180 knots as we come down here. And then we'll hold 180 knots before 8 miles. After that we'll slow down to final approach speed, land on runway 04 right, and then from 04 right we shall vacate. Well, the easiest thing to do if there's no traffic is vacate right at the end of the runway, but runway 4 left is also used as a taxiway. Although I think it may only be used as a taxiway when 22 left is in use, so we could roll right to the very end. So no auto brakes, we'll just roll to the end, vacate left on Delta, and then we'll be able to taxi via Echo to the terminal. In terms of top of descent, it's actually not that far away. Let's just see. So what are we doing? We are currently at flight level 390, and we want to start that top of descent probably around, with that wind, yeah, probably around 90 miles away. We're only in 20 miles time. Sadly, I think ATC may not be around when we get to our approach. Oh, look at the moon! That's great. Really nice to see. Right, let's get the latest weather. Do menu, ATSU, and then weather request. I can send that off now. To be fair, none of these are valid. We should have put the alternate in there. Just wait for that to come through. We'll then pop that into the perf page. William, good evening, sir. Hope you are well. Okay, so winds are 070 at 21 degrees. QNH is 101. 9. Let's pop that information in. And the transition altitude is 6,000 feet. Oh, wrong box. There we go. And the decision altitude is going to be Cat 1. Has runway visual range as well above 550 meters, so it's 230. Digital ETA banner is doing the funky chicken. We've had a lot of names to describe what it's doing tonight, but that's the first time. It is. It's having a bit of a moment. Right, time to start heading down then, I think. Let's put our plan into action.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, you will be delighted to hear that we will shortly be starting at
Thrust idle, open descent, 100 blue.
start preparing for our arrival. If you could please make sure that all the aisles are clear and the cabin crew are able to make their way around the aircraft without any luggage in the aisles, that would be most appreciated. A reminder for our Easyjetsimpilot members that free drinks are still available from the cabin crew until the seatbelt signs are turned on. Please note, however, that the toilets will shortly go out of use. Thank you.
So just checking the note times as well to make sure that nothing daft is happening on there. Nothing that's going to affect us in the simulator anyway. So we're now just going to monitor that descent. We're not picking up the Pisa VOR just yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as an Easyjet customer. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
That is a rather beautiful looking view over the left wing, isn't it? Very, very neat. Very nice. So what else do I want to just grab off here and double check? So I want to just double check the ILS frequencies in the RadNav, which is 108.7. The elevation of the field is 3. And the missed approach, proceed on runway heading to 400 feet. And then it's a left turn to 278 degrees. A max speed of 190 knots. And climbing to 2,500 feet. I love that as well on the missed approach. The Pisa monumental area should be avoided. We shall certainly do our best. Christopher, is this why you like night flights? Because of the view? Well, in that case, let me get the pesky charts out of the way. Be interesting to see if this line clears itself out. We're actually right on the descent path, but we do need to slow down to 250 knots as well. So I'm just going to pull the speed bug, wind that up a bit, just increase that rate of descent ever so slightly. Oliver, when is the next stream? Probably Sunday evening. But that won't be a real op stream. That'll be a fun Sunday night, end of the week stream. Canteen pizza when we get on the ground digital. That sounds like a great idea. I had pizza for tea actually. It's quite nice. So we've got the weather and the landing information. FMGC is all set. Landing elevation is 3 feet. We've done our arrival briefing. We know what the plan is. Terrain radar sadly we can't turn on. Let's pop the QNH onto the standby 1019. That's all set. Digital, obviously you arrived a little bit later, but we had ATC all for like the first nearly 2 hours of the stream to begin with. It was fantastic. Let me just confirm the wind that we put in. What have we got? Oh, that's crazy. What's happened there? Wasn't it 070 at 4? Not even sure where that came in. Can I not put that in? I'll have to put it all in. 070 at 4. Thank you to the PMs on board for sorting that out. That was a bit weird. William, you're having pizza for dinner right now. Well, I suppose the cabin crew should serve pizza, shouldn't they? On the way to Pisa. Or do you think that may be a bit overkill? Because that's most likely what the passengers are going to be living off for the next few days. Treadbone, can we do a touch and go at the I-95 stream? You can if you wish. We fly over several airports usually, don't we? And we're going to be departing out of New York. There's hundreds of airports. We're starting to get to the part of the I-95 which is a little bit more populated with airports all the way. That's interesting. Look at the difference between the flight displays there. There we go. We've now got a distance from Pisa showing. Right, we're about 30 miles from Airac. We're 41 miles, so that's perfect. That gives me a bit of time to slow down. If you've enjoyed the flight so far, then guys, please do give the stream a like. Really do appreciate that. It makes a massive difference to the channel. And of course, if you're brand new, hit subscribe, turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future live streams and video content. Andy, you could never overkill on pizza. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I suppose there's a variety of different toppings you can go with, isn't there? Leroy, you're on the way to Nice yourself. Ah, now which approach are you going to be doing? GD, you're now spending more time on your gaming chair than your sofa. Do you know what? I think I am as well. Very, very true. So I've got the landing system on nice and early, so we know how far away we are. Remember, of course, that 60 miles is as the crow flies, so we are going to be adding some track mileage to that as we come out and around to line up for our approach. Wayne, it's a shame there's a few more coloured lights aren't depicted on the ground in the sim. It would add heaps to the realism. Well, I have seen like the sort of traffic light colours. You know, you get your greens and your reds. I don't know if that was something that was removed from Sim Update 5, because I definitely remember seeing them down on the ground, greens and reds. I might have to go back and check previous streams for that. So let's go ahead and get the seatbelt signs on as we start to come and get ready for the approach. Approach checklist. Minimums are set both sides. Engine mode selector is normal. And electronic flight bag is stowed. So I'm now going to wind that speed back to 50 knots. So we can be at that for 10,000 feet. Andy, yeah, not sure what's happening with the ETA. Flying the DeLorean tonight. We'll add that to the book. We'll have a few comments about that this evening. That's I think that one and the funky chicken are my personal favourites. So airspeed is bleeding off nicely. Leroy, you're doing the ILS approach from 104 right, and then here's the 7 Romeo. Fun fact, the Nice airport don't like using the ILS approach. They only use that in poor weather. They prefer you to use the RNAV, which takes you out over the sea and background. Basically keeps you away from the ground. It's a noise pollution thing. Talia, and you thought that the infants got put in the overhead bin. Oh, there's times I feel like shoving mine in there. I think mine are all in my bed. What the heck am I going to do after this? I like to get in bed with my... It's B&B time after this. Beer and bed. And one thing I'm just going to add here, just so I know I'm safe, is just put the course in there. So I know that once we fly through that, we're in that nice minimum safe altitude of 2,700 feet, so we're going to be cleared down to 3,000 feet without issues. Speed and Alt Star, so we're going to have to maintain this altitude. We could drop down to 9,000 feet, to be honest, that is safe. But we're okay at the moment. 10,000 feet, we're 41 miles away from Pisa, and we've got some miles to fly around that. So plenty of time. Alt.
We've just begun our final descent into our destination. If you could now assist the cabin crew by tidying up your tray table and handing them any litter as they come around, that would be most appreciated. For safety reasons, we ask now that you please turn off all electronic devices or switch them to airplane mode until after we have landed. Please note that the aircraft toilets are now out of use.
Wayne, you are on form tonight, sir. Nicholas, I did want to ask that question. How old was your brother? William, landing lights on. Yeah, I will do when I drop below 10,000 feet. There's no point putting them on before that. So we can use our navigation display to help guide us around. And you see that cloud layer in front of us as well. What's the policy on using the dome lights in the cabin? I've got them on currently. Will I turn them off for final approach? I will do for final approach, yes. Yeah. There's no policy, but obviously it's better for your eyes, isn't it? You want them to be adjusted to the night time so you can see what's happening. So I'm now going to activate the approach phase, but I've got selected speed 250 set, so it's not going to make any difference for now, but I know that is set. One thing I want to check actually just in doing that, because I've got a max speed of 190 knots on the go around, which means I need to do that at S speed, flaps 1. Okay, so we're going to come into heading mode, and as I said, we'll select something sensible. So, heading 210, here's our downwind leg. And we just need to make sure it's a little bit bumpy as we're going over the terrain. So we can get down to 9,000 feet now. We don't need to do it particularly quickly. So 500 feet per minute will do. Now we'll get those landing lights on. Patrick, what altitude is the standard setting for the altimeter change? It changes for every airport, unless you're in the USA, where it is 18,000 feet, but the transition altitude here is 6,000 feet. So when I select an altitude below 6,000 feet, that is when I'm going to be changing that to local pressure. A little bit of cloud cover, and again another reason why I'm being cautious with the altitude, because if we have a quick look at the terrain, we can see we've just left Airac. Coming out, we've got this terrain just here, but 9,000 feet is a safe altitude, so I don't want to go any further than that until, if I can look down and I can see I'm over the coast, then I know that I'm going to be safe. Otherwise, I've got this setting of 129 degrees. That way I know I'm cleared down to 3,000 feet, which is the platform altitude for our approach. Vidar, thank you so much for watching and for your support this evening, Vidar. I hope you'll catch the landing again tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, Vidar. I tell you, there's a mountain goat off to the right. We're not in Switzerland, are we? So, just looking, we've also got cloud layer there, which doesn't help me with regards to the terrain. That could be the coast. The lights all stop rather abruptly down there, don't they? It's whether we take that chance. Terrain radar sadly doesn't work. That could have helped. That looks very much like a coastline to me. Okay, so just looking as well in the distance, I'm happy now to continue that descent down. So I'm going to set an altitude of 3,000 feet. Thrust idle, open descent, and 3,000 blue. There you go. There's the needle moving. So we're moving into the safe area, which is good to see. Pop that back in arc mode. Patrick, we should be on the ground in around 15 minutes or so. Mash, you've only just joined. What's going on with the ETA? I needed a bot for this stream to sort that out. There we go. ILS information is now populated. 15 miles out. Over there somewhere. So Zhao, the terrain radar doesn't work in the experimental build, sadly, which is a shame, but we can, at night time, respect the minimum safe altitudes and minimum off-route altitudes. That'll keep us nice and safe. Flight 123, you're pretty sure this is a real flight, right? You are correct. This was a real flight. We're about 2 hours behind it. Air Trooper 37, good evening. Hope you've had a great day. We've had a great stream tonight, great flight. You just join us now as we come in for the final furlough. Philip, they have not fixed the lighting issue on VATSIM, which is a great shame. Okay, so as we briefed, I now want to start slowing the aircraft down, so we're going to go into managed speed. And aircraft will just halt that descent as we bleed the airspeed off to around 217 knots. Correction, 207 knots. And what we'll look to do then is keep an eye on the glide slope. We're going to make the base turn towards Jessie very soon. I'll do it all in heading mode. We'll just imagine that we're getting vectors from air traffic control. So there we go. We're on our way down again just now. And we don't want to make that base turn too soon. Pisa traffic, Easy 46 Yankee Kilo is right downwind for arrival on runway 04 right, 17 miles out. So just make that call on Unicom there, in case anyone is around. Guido, thanks for flying to your hometown. The approach over the sea is always breathtaking. Sadly, it's night time, so we're not going to get to see very much. I'm afraid. Okay, so I'm going to slow down the rate of descent. We're now nicely below the glide slope. Let's make that left-hand base turn towards Jessie. And we're going to start configuring as well. So we'll go flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1, oh Talia, did I say right? We are left downwind, quite right too. We are making left turns. My apologies. Easy 46 Yankee Kilo, Pisa traffic correction. We're on the left downwind for runway 04 right. So what we can do now is bring that around even more. And you can see what I'm aiming to do as we come in. Oh wow, that looks stunning, doesn't it? That looks really neat. So I think we may even have the moon in shot as we come into land, so that's going to look really nice. Coming up on the platform altitude out, then we are just under 16 miles out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside.
Alt star.
Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
So at unpip, which you can just see here, we can do 2,000 feet. So we're going to go open descent 2,000 blue, and I don't want to do that at any great rate. We can do that at about 700 feet per minute. We'll make a left-hand turn now, and then we'll arm our approach. So Alt glide slope blue, lock star. Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2. As briefed, I'm going to set 180 knots until we're 8 miles DME from the runway. That looks stunning.
2,500.
Radio altimeter alive. Patrick, calculating the descent rate, basically to continue a 3-degree descent path, it is half the ground speed. So lock green. So if you're doing 200, if your ground speed's 200, then half that is obviously 100. That's 1,000 feet per minute. However, I don't need to maintain that quite so much because we are below the glide slope. That's going to come in here at umpip. We should see that. So as soon as I start to see this move, we're going to go flaps 2, which should be any second now, to be honest with you. Actually, it's 2,000 feet. Correction. 2,000 feet at umpip, but the glide slope should intersect at around 6.3 miles, which is about 3 miles to go. Pisa traffic, easy 46 Yankee Kilo on finals now, runway 04 right at 8 miles. Wayne, thank you so much for your donation. And thanks for your continued support. Flaps 2 coming in. I'm going to pull that speed back now to 160 knots. So you can see the 2 runways. Obviously, the right hand one we're headed for, which is lit up far better. Landing gear down, spoilers armed, lights on. Ding the cabin crew, glide slope star. Missed approach altitude is set. Glide slope, 5 miles to run. Flaps 3, speed check. Flaps 3. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Auto thrust speed. Ground altitude set. ECA memo landing. No blue. I always find it difficult to gauge what view I want for landing.
1,000.
1,000 feet. Autopilot off, eye for control. Winds very light, very variable. Speed. I thought we were pitched down ever so slightly.
Above. 200 minimum.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Hopefully the spoilers have deployed. ECAM hasn't shown it, but reversers are on. No auto brake, as the plan is to roll to the end of the runway. "17 knots, reversers off."
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties.
Now,
however, we ask that
where's
you
this
remain
taxiway?
seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable
Sadly,
electronic devices for
as we
messaging,
know,
calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure
default
to take all your personal belongings
airports
with you,
aren't
check
always
in
that
the
great
seat
at
pockets,
night.
underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your Easyjet journey. For the latest news, promotions, flight and destination information, check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or Easyjet app.
Pisa traffic, runway 04 right is vacated. Really difficult to see. We'd obviously normally turn off landing lights, but until we've got some decent lighting in here, it becomes very difficult. The handcrafted airports are usually much better. I think it's going to be a case, sadly, of hoping we can find somewhere to park and aim for the tug. They're usually not far off. That said, I think this is parking stand. It could be 27 or 28. Let's have a look. This will do. Yeah. Handcrafted airports are so much better at night. Now we've blinded the ground crew. Let's get those off, shall we? So sadly, it looks like we can't be parked in the right place because it tells us external power is not going to be available. Well, let's just wait until the APU is on and available. There we go. Now let's shut down engine 1, shut down engine 2. I can get the lights off. once that disappears, there we go. Lights off. N1 is below 10. Beacon light off. And we're good. They can disarm the doors, but sadly, I don't think any ground crew are going to meet us. That's a shame. Right, guys. Well, that is about it. Here we are in Pisa, down safely. Yeah, a little moment with the speed right at the end, and I need to go back and check that because I went through the landing checklist. I called speed, and it just didn't clock with me at all. But we managed to get there in time. We got down to a sensible speed in the end. Managed that. That's okay. Let's just go through the shutdown procedure. We can turn that down. Put that to 2000 standby. I'll open the flight deck doors as well. Why not? Sadly, as I say, passengers are not going to be disembarking because there's no ground traffic available. I don't know if I can... Sometimes you can make them spawn in on here, can't you? Let me just double check. I don't think it's going to happen. No, they're not going to come. Never mind. But that's it. There we are. And then if we were going to shut down everything properly, of course, then we get the fuel pumps turned off, APU bleed on while the passengers are still in the cabin and disembarking, etc. And we could turn off the ideas as well. We'd turn off crew oxygen supply. Wouldn't need that any longer. We could also turn off no smoking signs, but we'd probably wait until the cabin was empty before we did that. Emergency exit signs no longer need to be armed. Let's go ahead and just turn those off anyway. Let's imagine our passengers have now got off the aircraft. We can turn the packs off as well. We can turn down the displays. We can shut down the aircraft completely, as there will certainly not be another flight tonight, and go through and do the ECAMs as well. It's a lot quicker to do this in real life rather than having to use your mouse cursor, but there we go. Turn the overhead down as well. There we are. And the moment I turn off the APU, everything's going to go pitch black because we've no ground power available. But other than that, we are about done. So thank you very much, everyone. Really hope you enjoyed a decent length Friday night stream. It's been good, and the fact we've been following a live flight as well. Always like doing that. Great way to spend a Friday evening. If you have enjoyed the stream, please on your way out do hit the like and subscribe button if you are new. The like button really does help the channel, so I appreciate everybody who likes the streams. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell as well if you are new to the channel. Seems like the ETA has finally stopped bugging out, so that's good to see. A big thank you to all of you who have donated, contributed and supported the stream this evening, and as always a huge thanks to the Easyjetsimpilot channel members for your continued support. Great to see you guys. I shall probably chat with you, I'm sure, on the Discord server over the weekend, and I hope everyone has a great Friday, Saturday, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you all again very soon. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, I hope you have enjoyed